Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. My dear friends, now I am starting with the continuous history and introduction of Sialkot, the part 3rd. Sialkot is an old and historical city. The reason it consists of the history of the city is consists of 4 parts. This is the 3rd part of Sialkot. Sialkot is also an industrial city, and the airport which are in Sialkot, situated in Sialkot, is the local government coalition. During the British era, an official is known as the resident who would is in theory advise the Maharaja of Kashmir would reside in Sialkot during the winter time. During the spy mutiny of 1857, the two Bengal regiments based in Sialkot rebelled against the East India Company, while their native servants also took up arms against the British. In 1877, the Sialkot poet Allama Iqbal, who is credited for inspiring the Pakistan movement, was born into a Kashmir family that had converted to Islam from Hinduism in the early 1400th century. British India's first bagpipe work opened in Sialkot, and today there are 25 bands in the city. Sialkot's modern prosperity began during the colonial era. The city had been known for its paper making and iron works prior to the colonial era, and became a center of metal work in the 1890s. Surgical instruments were being manufactured in Sialkot for use throughout British India by the 1920s. The city also became a center for sports goods manufacturing for British troops stationed along with the northwest frontier due to the availability of nearby timber reserves. As a result of the city's prosperity, large numbers of migrants from Jammu region of Jammu and Kashmir came to the city in the search of employment. At the end of World War II, the city was considered the second most industrialized in Punjab. After Amritsar, much of the city's infrastructure was paid by local taxes, and the city was one of the few in British India to have its own electric utility company. Partition, the first communal rights between Hindus, Sikh, and Muslims took place on 24 June 1946, a day after the resolution calling for the establishment of Pakistan as a separate state. Sialkot remained peaceful for several months while communal riots had erupted in Lahore, Amritsar, Ludhiana, and Rawalpindi. The predominantly Muslim population supported Muslim League and the Pakistan movement. While Muslim refugees had poured into the city, escaping riots elsewhere, Sialkot's Hindu and Sikh communities began fleeing in the opposite direction towards India. The initially congregated in fields outside the city where some of Sialkot's Muslims would bid farewell to departing friends. Hindus and Sikh refugees were unable to exit Pakistan toward Jammu on account of conflict in Kashmir and were instead required to transit via Lahore. Post-independence. After independence in 1947, the Hindu and Sikh minorities migrated to India, while Muslim refugees from India settled in Sialkot. The city has suffered significant losses as a result of commercial rioting that erupted because of partition. 80% of Sialkot's industry had been destroyed or abandoned, and the working capital fell by an estimated 90%. The city was further stressed by the arrival of 200,000 migrants, mostly from Jammu, who had arrived in the city. Following the demise of industry in the city, the government of West Pakistan prioritized the re-establishment of Punjab's decimated industrial base. The province led infrastructure projects in the area and allotted abundant properties to newly arrived refugees. Local entrepreneurs are rose to fill the vacuum created by the departure of Hindu and Sikh businessmen. By the 1960s, the Persian government laid extensive new roadways in the district and connected it to trunk roads to link the regulates to the seaport in Karachi. During the Indo-Pakistani War of 1965, when Pakistani troops arrived in Kashmir, the Indian Army counter-attacked in the Sialkot sector. The Pakistan Army successfully defended the city, and the people of Sialkot came out in full force to support the troops. In 1966, Government of Pakistan awarded a special flag of Halal-e-Istiqlal to Sialkot along with Lahore and Sargodha in Indo-Pakistan War of 1965 for showing severe resistance in front of enemy, as these cities were target of enemy's advances. Every year on Defense Day, this flag is symbol of recognition of the will, courage, and perseverance of the dwellers of these cities. The armored battles in the Sialkot sector, like the Battle of Chavinda, were the most intense since the Second World War. Geography. Sialkot climate. Sialkot features a humid subtropical climate under the Köppen climate classification with four seasons. The post-monsoon season from mid-September to mid-November remains hot during the daytime, but nights are cooler with low humidity. In the winter from mid-November to March, days are mild to warm with occasionally heavy rainfalls outcutting. Temperatures in winter may drop to 0 degree to 32 Fahrenheit, but maxima are very rarely less than 15 degree or 59 Fahrenheit. Cityscape. Sialkot. Sialkot's core is composed of the densely populated old city, while north of the city lies the vast colonial area. Sialkot cantonment, characterized by wide streets and large lawns, the city's industries have evolved in a ribbon-like pattern along the city's main arteries and are almost entirely dedicated to export. The city's sporting good firms are not concentrated in any part of the city, but are instead spread throughout Sialkot. Despite the city's overall prosperity, the local government has failed to meet Sialkot's basic infrastructure needs. Economy Sialkot. Sialkot is a wealthy city relative to the rest of Pakistan with a GDP of $13 billion and a per capita income in 2021 estimated at $18,500. The city was considered to be one of British India's most industrialized cities through its economy, would later be largely decimated by violence and capital flights following the partition. The city's economy rebounded and Sialkot now forms part of the relatively industrialized region of northern Punjab that is sometimes referred to as the Golden Triangle. Sialkot has been noted by Britain The Economist magazine as a world-class manufacturing hub with strong export industries. As of 2017, Sialkot exported US $2.5 billion worth of goods, which is equal to 10% of Pakistan's total export US $25 billion. 250,000 residents are employed in Sialkot's industries, with most enterprises in the city being small and funded by family savings. Sialkot's Chamber of Commerce had over 6,500 members in 2010, with most active in the leather, sporting goods, and surgical instruments industry. The Sialkot Dry Port offers local producer quick access to Pakistani customs as well as to logistics and transportation. As of 2017, Sialkot exported US $2.5 billion worth of goods, which is equal to 10% of Pakistan's total export. 250,000 residents are employed in Sialkot industries, with most enterprises in the city being small and funded by family savings. Sialkot's Chamber of Commerce had over 6,500 members in 2010, with most active in the leather, sporting goods, and surgical instruments industries. The Sialkot Dry Port offers local products producer quick access to Pakistani customs as well as to logistic and transportation. Despite being cut off from its historic economic heartland in Kashmir, Sialkot has managed to position itself into one of Pakistan's most prosperous cities, exporting up to 10% of all Pakistani exports. Its sporting goods firms have been particularly successful and have produced items for global brands such as Nike, Adidas, Reebok, and Puma. Balls for the 2014 FIFA World Cup, 2018 FIFA World Cup, and 2022 FIFA World Cup were made by Forward Sports, a Sialkot based company. Sialkot's business community has joined with the local government to maintain the city's infrastructure, as the local government has limited capacity to fund such maintenance. My dear friends, thanks for watching my video. Please like and please subscribe. So we shall start with the part 4. Thank you very much.